Ladies and gentlemen, children of the interwebs out there, Sebastian Envy, the strong style nerd, strong style cinephile. Death of the Speed Force. Now, this episode was the long-awaited return of Kid Flash himself, Wally West, who arrives in a blaze of glory and lightning, saving a helicopter from crashing to the ground. In Central City, though, we find out that the helicopter accident was not an accident at all. It was actually an attack from the villain of the week. It turns out to be Turtle 2, because Cisco can't come up with a better name. And yes, this goes back to, I'll get to that in a second, that bad news. But Wally's back for not just to reconnect with Barry, he is back because he can feel something in the Speed Force. Speed Force is dying. See, Wally is back with an assortment of new powers. He can create speed doubles of himself, which what he uses to help save people from the helicopter crash. He can create shapes out of lightning, and through meditation and some speaking with some certain individuals on his journey, he has learned to talk to the Speed Force, and the Speed Force is talking to him. The Speed Force shows him visions, or had been showing him visions of different futures. And some of the things he saw was himself running with his kids and their kids, and he even saw Nora, apparently. But the Speed Force does not talk to him anymore. Something is happening within the Speed Force. He can feel it, and that's why he's come back to get to the bottom of it. Turns out Barry had something to do with it. I mean, surprise, surprise, Barry's always screwing around with the Speed Force, or the future, or the time travel, or something. It's always Barry's fault. That much is certain, and it turns out this fact leads to a kind of a blow-up between Barry and Wally. Maybe some repressed feelings that Wally had about kind of always having to play second fiddle to Barry came out, despite his newfound zen-ness. Still kind of carries some of that pride and stuff inside, so maybe that kind of spurred the argument. But as I said, Wally was there to get to the bottom of it. When he has this confrontation with Barry, Barry kind of thinks that it has to do with him being taken over by Bloodwork and him attacking the Speed Force. But no. We are still dealing with the ramifications, the fallout from Crisis. And it turns out, back in Crisis, when, Spectriver, Oliver, as the Spectre, tapped him on the forehead in a very anticlimactic fashion and unlocked whatever powers to get him from the vanishing point into the Speed Force, it infected the Spectre's power infected the Speed Force, and now the Speed Force is collapsing and dying under the weight of the Spectre's godlike power. So, in a way, yes, it was Barry's fault that the Speed Force is dying. It seems to be gone for good, because the way it plays out in the episode, Barry has to say goodbye to his mother again, because Speed Force, took on the form of his mom. He has to say goodbye to her because Speed Force croaks. Now, there's still some residual powers that the two have, but they're on a ticking clock, and maybe that is kind of convenient because of how much budget they have to be able to dedicate to some of the speed effects, considering Crisis and all they had to dump into that to make that happen. So it's kind of convenient. We'll see less and less of the Flash as they kind of as they're a bit more judicious with how they distribute the visuals of the speed powers. So we'll see how that plays out. But in the end, the two have a heart-to-heart talk. They get back on the same page, team up, and stop Turtle 2. Turtle 2 was apparently a woman who was running a drug operation out of her apartment. She was caught, deported, and the first victim of the crash was an informant for CCPD. So Turtle 2 kills her, uses her powers to age her 100 years or more, kind of mummifies her. And then she's going after the second witness. So she attacks CCPD. And of course, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Wally is, of course, sidelined conveniently because we can only have one speedster going at a time. That's all the writers can focus on, is one speedster at a time, which is why two speedsters on the show has never worked. When it was Kid Flash, when it was Nora, never worked. But through the convenience of plot science, they come up with a formula that counteracts Turtle 2's powers, and then she gets taken away. End of Big Bad for the week. Kind of a weak villain. Did Turtle really need to be gender swapped for this episode? Did it need to be the Turtle? Could it have just been somebody else with speed powers? Did we just need it to be Turtle Turtle 2 to show us Cisco's stupid like trading card, villain trading card collection. And just getting back to Cisco, he's back, went on this journey documenting changes post-crisis, and he's still moody and just sad Cisco, because he still finds himself the same person he was before he left. Apparently that's a problem for him. It's a problem for me because I don't want him back at all. I would rather him be off the show, because there's just too many cast. I saw this on a message board. There's too many characters on the show, and that's so true. There's just far too many. They just need to lighten the load, not add to it. I just really hope they learn their lesson at some point in time. So Cisco's dealing with that, and he's also decides to help Nash, who is wanting help with his problem of seeing duplicates, doppelgangers, having visions of it. Are they really there, or is it all in his mind? He wants to get to the bottom of it. Cisco insists, no, they can't be doppelgangers because they're all gone. And if they were, they would die. So we're having some conflicting science here, because on Supergirl, as far as I know, because I don't watch the show, from what I've read, doppelgangers are hanging out on Supergirl. But on Batwoman, as we've seen, having two doppelgangers occupy the same Earth, one of them is going to die. One of them has to die for the other one to survive. So they're taking that science into account on The Flash, where Cisco says you can't have two of them because they'll die. So I'm kind of wondering if Supergirl maybe is going to circle around to that at some point. Otherwise, why would you have two conflicting sciences? Or is it going to be some sort of thing where the humans, doppelgangers, would die out, but the aliens, because of some shenanigans, DNA, whatever, they don't die? Alien doppelgangers survive. Human doppelgangers die. Maybe they'll swing around to that. Maybe they already have. Like I said, I don't watch the show outside of crossovers. But as we see later on in the episode, Nash is in fact infected with the Reverse Flash. He was told at the tail end of the last episode that he was coming. We saw heard little, clicking sound, and saw the eyes that indicated Reverse Flash was coming back. He's apparently come back, possessed Nash for shenanigans and whatever reasons, tries to kill Cisco, finds out he doesn't have any powers, and Carlos Valdez has an action scene. So yay for that, I guess. They lock him in the pipeline, and he professes to his desire to kill Barry, which is his reason for being. He also knows that Barry's speed force is waning, and he's just content to just wait it out till Barry's powers are gone, and he can kill him then. This soon leads Barry to his next course of action. He thinks about the fact that Thawne invented his own speed force, the negative speed force, that he, along with Cisco and Caitlin, those three brains, big brains, can find a way to make an artificial speed force. So I guess that's going to be one of the plot points going forth, is them creating this artificial speed force to sustain Barry's powers. Because of course he's got to keep his powers. It's the Flash. The Flash has to have super speed, otherwise why would you have the show? So it'll be interesting to see how this comes together going forth. Again, I'm tired of Cisco on the show. I just want him to go away. Period. In the mirror world, Ventara, we have Iris watching her brother return home, and she's all sad and stuff. And of course, we already know that Eva is off. She's controlling Mirror Iris. They maintain some sort of connection, some sort of control. Mirror Iris has some sort of mission to take down Carver. Why? It makes me wonder if what parts of her story to Iris about how she ended up in the mirror are true. Did she end up there accidentally because of the particle accelerator exploding that knocked her in there? Or maybe Carver saw something in her that was evil, and he actually put her in there, and that's why she's mad as she is over him leaving her there, forgetting that she's there? Or is it just she accidentally got put there and she is indeed mad, feels slighted because she feels he has forgotten her, moved on from her? And before he departs, Wally tells Joe to watch out for Iris because he can sense something is off with her. Camila, I think, senses something is off with her, which is, of course, confirmed when she tries to delete a picture she took earlier in the episode of Iris that Iris demanded that she delete for, kind of a plausible explanation, but you could tell Camila was still kind of thinking something. Turns out, Mirror Iris shows up with the mirror gun, shoots Camila with it, and sends her off to parts unknown. Is she in the mirror world? Is she in Ventara with the real Iris and evil Eva Mirror Master? Or is she in some other mirror prison? Remains to be seen, but hey, it's another body that is off the show of an already crowded show. So I'm all for that. And that pretty much summed up the episode. I know I kind of jumped around here or there, but it was Interesting episode to kind of see, again, more fallout from the crisis, to see Wally West return and to be more confident in himself, in his powers, to be able to do some stuff better than Barry. Although, again, some more things change, more they stay the same. He still gets sidelined in the end in the big battle with the big bad, and Barry has to save the day. Or sort of, Barry has to talk to the villain and try to distract them while Joe saves the day. Jesse L. Martin is the salt of the earth. He's one of the best things that happen in this show. His heart-to-heart talks with the characters, just his words of wisdom. I mean, I'm sure he's, a surrogate father to a new host, like a new generation of young folk who watch this show, much in the way that, Optimus Prime was for many of us, kind of in a way in the 80s. I know having a TV character have that kind of impact, influence on you and your development may seem kind of weird, but also, it's happened in so many cases, so many instances of it. I can see Jesse L. Martin and his character of Joe West being that type of character for people, for viewers, young viewers who watch the show. He's just a great, great character. Hopefully they can keep him on the show in whatever capacity, as long as the show is on. That's one cast member I think needs to stay. The rest of them, it's just too much. Too much. And having Thawne, is Thawne going to be the big bad? Is how much is he going to take up of the back half of the season, of the final, handful of episodes as we head into whatever sort of final battle that they have? Is it going to be Eva as the Mirror Master? Remains to be seen how they play this out. I'm anxious to kind of see how things play out, how fast other people catch on. Barry, Iris talks about Barry calling her his lightning rod, how he'll always find her wherever she's at. How long is it going to take him to figure out she's not who she says she is? Because he kind of should at this point. Or is that one of those, plot-induced stupidity type of things like we had with Cicada, like we had with The Thinker, where that's just the only way we can stretch this stuff out and pad out the season. Remains to be seen what happens with Speed Force. Now they're going to create an artificial Speed Force and the plot science that's going to go into that. All in all, the show has given us some plots where I'm kind of curious to kind of see where they go with it. Am I just fully on board and drawn into The Flash this season still? I'm not. I'm watching it because it's superhero stuff, because I've been watching it this long. I should continue watching it. But am I truly drawn to it this season? No, I'm not. Am I just getting tired of the superhero shows? Am I just getting tired of the Arrowverse? Am I getting burned out from it? I don't think so, because I'm still eager for Legends of Tomorrow. That's still an awesome show, even though I have some negative feelings about some of the stuff that they're doing. Some of the changes that they've made over the seasons. On that, I'm super stoked and excited for Stargirl. I'm excited to see Batwoman each week. I have my criticism of that, my hopes for a turnaround as the show finds its voice and its footing and can really just refine things and do them better. So I know I'm not burned out on the Arrowverse. I'm looking forward to the Superman show with Tyler Hoechlin's Superman and Lois. So I know I'm not burned out on the Arrowverse. It's just something about The Flash is just not clicking with me this season. I'm still gonna watch it because I want to talk about it. I want to geek about it. But it's just not hooking me like it used to. Will that change? Remains to be seen. Will The Flash get better to me? Remains to be seen. Will they dump some of the cast members and just slim it down, trim it down, and just make it just better, addition by subtraction? Remains to be seen. But those are some of my thoughts on this episode, scattered as they often are, and definitely were on this one. What do you guys out there think? More importantly, let me know in the comments below. Follow me, social media, that's there at the bottom. Until next time, till the next video, let us geek.